Welcome to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. Please thumbs up or thumbs down the video. Doesn't matter which one it is. Doesn't mean that you like me, hate me, or anything. It just means that you are interacting with the video, and that's the name of the game. Please play the game with me. I'm losing money. I can no longer sustain myself through YouTube because people don't click the thumbs up button. That's how bad it is. If you click the thumbs up button, let's say 1,000 likes, that robot sends it to the next robot, and that next robot then sends it out to the rest of YouTube. I don't know if you've noticed this. If you've made a comment and you've come back and it says 0 comments, that's YouTube. I'm shadow banned. The likes will overcome the shadow ban. So you have the power to unshadow ban me. If you could donate $20, that'd be fantastic. I'm out of food. So I guess I'm going to do that water fast. I'll have a 6-pack within 2 weeks. California just passed a law that stated, on the 13th, that stated, if you, as parents, do not affirm your child's transgenderism, that child can be taken away from you, and it opens you up to liability for the possibility that you can have child abuse criminal charges brought against you in the state of California. On June 13th, a bill which would put parents who don't affirm their child's gender transition in danger of child abuse charges. What is your option as an American who lives in California? Your only option is to move out of California, is to pick up your entire house and move out of California. There is nothing to say that any of this stuff is reality. And let me say this. The National Institute of Health, the NIH, did a comprehensive survey, NIH.gov, and they found that this explosion in gender transition, for the most part, is visited upon people who are on the spectrum. So, the kid is on the spectrum, they have some form of autism, they are on some sort of medication, either one of these, right? Some sort of psychotropic medication. Somebody comes along and says, if you do not feel you are who you think you are, more than likely you are transgender. Well, here's the thing. If you're on the spectrum, people don't treat you like they treat other people, and you know this. You can observe this. It does not mean that you're unintelligent. It just means that you're on the spectrum. Because of this, you also automatically feel that you aren't normal, quote unquote. So then the person comes along and says, if you don't feel like you are the way you should be, it has nothing to do with transgender. It is a thought that is implanted into a person's head who's on the spectrum, and they are a vulnerable child. The NIH determined that it was a majority of the people. And when I say majority, they had something ridiculous, like 80-90%. And they found this also chief among women. Girls, women, that for whatever reason, women are far more susceptible to this than men. I know if you looked at the mainstream media, you would get the idea that there's so many transgender men who are transitioning into women and going into sports because that gets the clicks. There's a lot of stuff in the media that gets clicks, and so they sensationalize the story and they repeat the story. Oh, here's another one. Oh, here's another one. We're talking about 10 people in a year. But the way the media reports it, you would think it was 50% of all the people who are 50 something percent of all the people who are transitioning into another gender are men. That is not the case. An overwhelming majority of the people who are transitioning are female to male. Here's another thing the NIH has said. There is a skyrocketing development of mental illness among women, girls. Skyrocketing. Mental illness has skyrocketed among female humans in the United States. They already had congressional hearings involving TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. This is before Elon Musk. And the medical establishment had said that they believe that it is this TikTok and stuff like that that are contributing to the mental illness of girls, because girls are the majority on that stuff. And there are a lot of people who get on TikTok and Facebook and talk about their ideology, and they have millions and millions of followers. People are followers. So if they see millions and millions of people watching one of these people, they're going to watch too. And so they're going to become susceptible to that ideology. It's nature versus nurture. The NIH is saying they are being nurtured into this gender transition, not the other way around. Historically speaking, humans have been 0.001% confused about their gender. It is a infinitesimally small group of humans who have that mental illness. Very tiny. This modern thing, the NIH has noticed that it is no longer 0.001% of the population. It is now something ridiculous like 0.1%. That is a huge jump. Huge. So we're having these laws that are being passed. The conservative governors around the nation are literally trying to fix just the symptoms. What are the symptoms? The bathroom stuff or the sports stuff. That's just a symptom. They're not getting to the core stuff. You do have DeSantis who tried to get to the core stuff. These books that are explicit in elementary school, banned. Explicit. They're not talking about books that are talking about the capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. No, that's not being banned. The stuff that's explicit being banned. Espousing ideology that has nothing to do with the curriculum in school to toddlers. Banned. That's getting to the root of the problem. I assume he also saw the NIH report about the study that they did, that these people are targeting these autistic children and trying to convince them to transition. Also, you can't have parades where you are nude in front of children. That's banned. He's trying to get to the root of the problem. So he has done a lot of stuff that's getting to the root of the problem. A lot of these laws, like California, places a complete divide and inserts themselves in between the parent and even the doctor and the child. So in between the parent and the child, you would think you would only have the doctor. The parent takes the child to the doctor and the doctor says blah, ABC, right? No, they're inserting in these other states that the teacher comes in between the parent and the child, and the state comes in between the parent and the child. What do I mean by that? They have laws that say the child does not need to tell the parent anything. That's inserting yourself in between the parent and the child. As far as I know, you don't have such a right. I don't believe the founding fathers thought of that, because nobody would ever think of that. 20 years ago, nobody would have thought of that. that you had to have a law that says you cannot insert yourself into the life of a child over and above a parent. Society ultimately relies upon the parent to raise the child, form the child's habits, form the child's religious beliefs, and form the child's sexual beliefs. Those are all parent stuff. Inserting the state in between the parent and the child is a recipe for disaster. And what's the recipe for disaster? Why do I say that? It's because when the child turns out to be terrible, criminal, what have you, the state has no accountability to the child. The state can't say, oh, that's my bad, he doesn't go to jail. Oh, that's my bad, I'm sorry that he murdered people. Oh, that's my bad, I'm sorry that he's gone violent. That's my bad. The state will never do that. So the state inserting itself in between the parent and the child is horrendous. Teachers inserting themselves in between the parent and the child. Horrendous. Because once again, when the child does something, grows up to do something, that teacher in 3rd grade can't say, oh, I'll take responsibility for that. I'm the one who convinced him to do that. No, it's not going to happen. So you need to, I don't care what you feel. How much you think, oh, that's just awesome, or oh, I completely agree with gender transitioning. Even if you believe that, none of the people who are inserting themselves in between you and your child are going to take responsibility when the child breaks. So you too need to pick up and move, because if you get from around that influence, you're going to notice that the child completely changes their tune. And doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists have been trying to tell people this. If the child says something like that, it is temporary. 90% of them will completely detransition or completely change their mind about the entire thing. You can see it in grown adults. Demi Lovato has completely changed her pronouns back to she, her. She's a grown woman. She did this whole I'm a they, them, what was it, a year ago? And insisted everybody call her they, them. She has now completely changed her mind and went back to she, her. She said it was exhausting because to get people to say they, them, she has to explain it to everybody that she meets. Oh, refer to me as they, them. If you can imagine, Demi Lovato is a famous person. Demi Lovato probably meets 1,000 people a day. 1,000 brand spanking new people each and every day. Imagine having to explain to 1,000 brand new people each and every day to refer to you as they, them. And it's not going to go so well as refer to me as they, them, and the person says, oh, okay, that doesn't happen. You're going to have to explain and explain and explain, and the why and the when and the where and the how and what does it mean, and please explain. Can you go into detail? I don't get it. What do you mean? I love you, Demi Lovato. Could you explain this a little bit more? I don't get 1,000 brand new people each and every day. She said it was exhausting, so she's going back to she, her. And there you have it. She has grown her hair out. She no longer looks like she was a victim of Fallout 4. What do you call those things? The ghouls? All right, thank you all for watching.